Hey guys, today I'm going to do a how-to video on owning your first snake, your first ball python to be specific. Um, New people that want to buy a snake, they're thinking, oh, I'll go to the pet store. I see them at the pet stores, franchise pet stores, Petland, Petco, PetSmart, stuff like that. And I think those places are terrible. You're going in there, you're seeing a normal ball python that's brown and black, and they're selling them for $80 to $100 when they're just buying those for $20 to $25. And the employees in there, they've probably never had a snake before. I mean, you walk in there, I saw some a week or so ago. Ball python is sitting under a heat lamp in its water dish with like three other ball pythons trying to keep cool. A lot of times you'll see them with stuck shed. It's just not the right setup. So I think you guys should stay away from places like that. Places you should go. I think reptile expos are awesome. Going to a local reptile show where all those breeders are, vendors, you see their tables, you see what they have produced. You can ask them questions. You can do YouTube, people that are selling off of YouTube, kingsnake.com, forums, stuff like that, breeders in your area. Ooh. Lost my focus. Alright, so let's say you're going to go to an expo, and when you go to your first expo, you're going to want to look around, search the entire place, see what everyone has, see what morphs, what colors you like, and see what prices things are. Once you've narrowed that down, talk to the breeders. Some questions that I'll ask the breeders are, what do you guys feed this snake? What is this snake eating for you? You want, when you get your ball python, the only knock I have for a ball python is sometimes they're harder to get to eat. So if you can mimic everything the breeder's been doing that has worked for him, then that is the best way to go. So say he says, all right, he's eating frozen thawed rat pups. So you're going to want to do that as well. Another question is, what does the breeder keep his snake in? All right, there's going to be they're most likely, I'm going to say 99%, they're keeping them in a rack system. So they're keeping them into a smaller enclosure like this tub I keep mine in right here. The next thing you're going to ask is, when was the last time they've eaten? And when you should feed him next, kind of thing. So those are the questions you're going to want to ask the breeder. And then price, obviously. Once you've got that all narrowed down, then you should be able to get the snake you want for the price you want, know exactly what it is eating and when you need to feed it. So you have your snake, as in right here. You're going to next need to know what you're looking for in its setup, in its husbandry. Are you going to want, since this could be your first snake, do you want it in a tank or do you want it in a rack system like I keep it? A rack system is going to be like a shelving unit where you keep sweater tubs like this right here. You keep them lined up like that, and the back of the shelving unit is heated, and it's going to be heated with a thermostat. That is one way to keep it. And most likely, if it's your first ball python, you're going to want to set up a tank and show it off because you're going to want to look at it. So say you go that route. Then I would go for a small snake like this right here. This is probably, I weighed him a couple days ago. He was probably 120 grams. So this is nearly the size of a baby ball python. I mean, 30 grams more than a baby, I'd say. But with that, you're going to want to get maybe a 10-gallon tank and get a place for it to hide, because they are shy creatures. They're going to want to stay hidden. So a little hut, like a log you'd see up there, would work, or there's many things you're going to see at a reptile show. You can get any of this stuff at the reptile show and for a good price. And your heat for your first snake, you're going to want something like a underground heat pad, some heat cable, and you could also use FlexWatt heat tape. But with the FlexWatt, you're going to want to hook it up to a thermostat, which is going to cost you some money. So I'm thinking go heat pad is probably going to be like $50, or I think heat cable is around that price too. And you can set both those right under your tank and plug them in, and it'll keep your snake plenty warm. So a simple setup for that is going to be a 10-gallon tank. No, you don't need a heat lamp. Stay away from heat rocks that you'd put in the tank. You don't need those. So substrate. I use paper towels for all mine. It's cheap. It's easy to clean. But if you want a more natural look, use any kind of substrate you'll see at the reptile show. There's like cork bark. There's what else is there? What else is there? I don't know. Look around. But also you could use newspaper. You could use, what else have I used? I've even at some points not even used anything and just used the bottom of the tub. But that gets a little messy. You're gonna have to clean more. So there's two routes you could go. Sweater tub, cheap. I think I paid like $3 for this. And some people are gonna look at this and say, well, wait, there's nothing for this snake. This snake looks like it's being mistreated, but this snake is doing perfect. This snake is so healthy. Eats every time I feed it. Why does it eat it every time I feed it? Because this is the way the breeder that I got it from kept it. And he told me exactly what to get. I put it in here and it does fine. It feels comfortable in a small area. Every once in a while, I'll open the tank and he'll be underneath here hiding. But this snake normally would have a lid on it, and I have it in a shelf, and it's completely dark, and that's the way it feels comfortable. That's awesome looking, very pretty. But to a person that wouldn't know that, they're going to be like, well, you're mistreating this animal. And no, I'm not. So there's definitely two ways to do it. A way that you can show it off to your family and make your tank look awesome, or a way that you can cheaply keep the snake and keep it healthy and let it thrive, would be a good way to describe it. What else? Also, while you're at the reptile show is a great place to get things that your snake is going to eat. A snake like this size is eating rat pups, frozen thawed, or adult mice frozen thawed, or it can eat live, obviously. But I get all my stuff from the reptile show in bulk. I pay for bulk amounts, which is going to be pointless for you the first time keeper because you only have one snake. You're only going to want to feed it once a week. A snake the size of a baby is probably only going to eat an adult mouse. So you might not want to go that route, but you can also pick up live mice, live rats at the reptile show for $1 each or 50 cents each, depending on where you're at, who's selling it, and the prices do vary. But if you go to a pet store, you're going to be paying $4 for a rat, $1.50 to $2 for a live mouse, and that does add up. So that's something to think about. What else? I've covered a lot, definitely. So yeah, you can go either way. I think. And okay, also let's talk about. Well, we did talk about what snake. My dog's throwing me off. He's sniffing around. Quit sniffing. Crazy. What's up, buddy? But I think that this video will do for now. I think it answered a lot of questions, and it will help new keepers of snakes. Maybe I should have written some of that down because I don't remember if I've covered it all. But I think this is about to be 10 minutes, so I think that's good. Guys, if you have anything to add to this, add it in the comments. Anything that you think could be helpful, or stuff that you think that I may have gotten wrong, which, I mean, every person has their own way of doing things. This has worked for me, and this is what I do. So, yes, and always feel free to email or comment down below, and I love answering questions. And I think that's it, guys. See ya.